Greetings, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm making a video today about a geometry feature known as quaternions versus trigonometry in regards to rotating a point or object around an axis or another point. So um, the takeaway from this video, if you're still watching, is that there's two ways to do it, multiple ways, and there's a big opportunity with understanding that a simpler way of rotating geometric data or coordinates exists apart from what most people do, which is the form of rotation known as a quaternion or a matrix rotation, if you're familiar. Um, most people who've taken linear algebra and are beyond geometry know about matrix rotations and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a short video. The main takeaway here is that with multiple trigonometric rotations, that is, if you combine them or add them together, you can achieve the exact same arbitrary rotation that you get from a single call to a matrix rotation. Say that one more time. So a quaternion is a type of matrix rotation in geometry, usually three-dimensional. I think it has to be, actually. And its main feature is it's one call. You supply an arbitrary axis. This is a central feature of a quaternion. You give it an initial arbitrary axis. It's included in the matrix, and you that is the axis about which your point or object is going to rotate, which is great if you need an arbitrary axis. The problem with doing it this way, there's actually a couple of problems. First of all, quaternions are, these, I'll speak for myself, they're a little bit counterintuitive. I have gone into it, I've learned the math, and I've actually used them, and they're efficient, they're direct. You can do exactly what you need with a single call, but you don't need a quaternion or that kind of complexity necessarily to do the same rotation, which you can do using what I'm about to describe, which is a trigonometric solution that is less common. And honestly, I haven't really seen a lot of anyone do this, except I've stumbled upon it in my own projects and in game development. So without getting into specific math and numbers, this isn't about that. It's just an overview, conceptualization of the differences between these two styles. And the trigonometric rotation is you are confined, basically, the way I do it, you're confined to the axes or planes of your three-dimensional space, first of all. And you overcome this limitation by adding multiple rotations together consecutively. Hopefully that makes sense. So what you're doing is you're doing several rotations to achieve the exact same result as the quaternion, which immediately you might be thinking, okay, there's a performance hit if you're doing more calls, but it turns out the calls are even the trigonometry calls. So, for example, if you're using a computer or programming language and you're using math, like this math functions that are built in, like sine, cosine, arctangent, arccosine, whatever, they are very, very fast. In fact, many CPUs, many GPUs have hardware dedicated to doing these things specifically because they are so common, especially in video games. They have circuits that are designed on hardware level to perform this math at a blindingly fast speed. So while the matrix rotation is also extremely fast, using only addition, subtraction, I'll post an example of the code for that as well. But it's a misconception to think that the trig rotation is any slower. In fact, I think the trig might even be a little bit faster, if not exactly the same speed. And I'll have a benchmark test that I've done myself, and I'll share that as well. So in a nutshell, in summary, If you stack your trig rotations, you you end up with the same capability as you have with the matrix or quaternion rotation. It has been mentioned in my sphere about three-dimensional object, that gimbal lock is, and it could be a problem. And this is one of those misconceptions I also want to debunk, that gimbal lock must be a limitation. This is only a limitation if you are using a non-additive trigonometric rotation scheme. I'm going to say that again. So if you have, for example, a source object and you wish to rotate it about an axis, one of the axes that are parallel with one of your dimensions, which you have to do with this solution, trigonometric solution, then you want to rotate it another way, and you're not actually changing your source data. You're just doing multiple rotations, and then you're looking for like that arbitrary axis solution. You're going to have a problem, and that's legitimate. The complaint that using three-axis trigonometric rotations reaches a limitation is accurate. It's absolutely true, unless you are applying them successively and then applying the next rotation to the one you just did. There's a very straightforward and efficient way, and a not well-known way, to achieve the exact same arbitrary rotation about that axis, whatever arbitrary axis you have. So anyway, that's a lot of words. It's a lot of promising and no evidence. So I'm going to include at the end of this a short animation that hopefully illustrates what I'm talking about. So thank you for your time. If you have questions, if you're interested in math and geometry, feel free to shoot me an email, whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.